Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a lovely mid-2000s entry in the vaunted Collection Privée Cartier Paris. This, from the CPCP series, is the Tortue XL 8 Days. Now, CPCP from 1998 to 2008 preceded the later Cartier fine watchmaking as the collection of haute horlogerie and enthusiast specials for those who are more interested in the history and the innards of the watch, what was within the watch, not just the style without. It was less about fashion and more about patrimony and beauty. So the beauty of this watch lies without and within. You don't have to choose. The timepiece was a collaboration between Cartier and its Richemont stablemate Jaeger-LeCoultre, and that is the genesis of this 9910 MC movement within. It is a large Tortue, the original Tortue, back in 1912, one of the first wristwatch designs, designed as such rather than converted from a pocket watch. The Tortue was born only 3 years after Louis Cartier created the world's first deployant clasp for a wristwatch, and we actually have that right here. So this model is large. It's a Tortue design, so it harks back to the early 20th century, but in its size, it's very much of the 21st. 38 millimeters from 9 to 3 o'clock. It's only 11.2 millimeters thick, and then it is 48.1 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. So this is a large Tortue. Although it might sound like 48 lug to lug isn't that broad, the watch does wear more like a 42 millimeter round watch. So keep that in mind. That's how it's going to fit. My wrist is 16 centimeters circumference, and the watch wears beautifully. If I do say so, it's a good fit, but I wouldn't go too much smaller. I think a 15, 16 centimeter circumference wrist is the lower limit to wear this well. Now the watch is white gold, which means it has a reasonable amount of heft. If you like a luxury watch that feels its price, this definitely does. Here we have a Cartier factory strap in brand new condition. It's what's known as a bonded strap. So we have matte finished black large rectangular scale alligator leather on the top. We have calfskin on the bottom, and then they're bonded together by adhesives rather than stitched, which creates a beautiful seamless appearance. And because of the way this clasp works, there's no need for perforation in the strap, which leads to a longer lasting strap. Louis Cartier, of course, created that original wristwatch deployant clasp back in 1909, and this is very similar to what he created. So it's a single fold deployant. It has a wire style loop as the buckle. You tuck the excess length of the strap down and under. You can see how that works. And so once it's sized and closed, there are no strap minder loops externally, and there's no excess length visible. And again, because it crimps rather than punctures the strap lasts a lot longer. The watch has a relatively seamless case design. Everything loads through the back, so the dial and the movement load in through the back. As a result, there's no step or seam between the case flank and the bezel. So from the top, this is a monoblock case. It's all of high polish, and it is a beautiful white gold with a faceted crown and then a faceted cabochon sapphire outboard. You can see how the watch is assembled. The screws are inserted laterally, and then we have this extraordinary cambered sapphire that does the most amazing things to your view of the dial as refraction takes hold at different angles. It's almost like a vintage plexiglass. The dial is silver, but slightly silver off-white. Not silver white, silver off-white. It's almost as though it has a slight cream tint to it, which makes it a little bit more elegant and a better complement to the white gold, which is warmer than, for example, steel platinum or even rhodium-plated white gold. We have blued hands. You can see the Breguet style. There's a rosette pattern with a pronounced rosette base around the cannon pinion at center. We have a little power reserve indicator for the 8 days of manual wind power reserve. We have a sunken sub-register for your seconds. And yes, the watch does feature hacking seconds. And yes, the watch does feature a quick set date. The movement is Jaeger-LeCoultre, so that is their patented double date. We also have the radially arrayed Roman numerals, characteristic of Cartier. They are transferred lacquer. You can see the use of a watchmaker's 4. There's a railroad track outboard for reading your minutes. And then we have the little Cartier secret signature with the V of Roman numeral 7, reading Cartier. flip it all over. This is based on JLC caliber 876. You'll also find a version of this movement in some of the 8-day Panerai Radomir watches, such as the PAM 190, 197, and 198. Now, it's been finished with a Cartier logo motif that repeats over all the bridges, but technically it is identical to the JLC. First, let me preface this by saying the watch is 30 meters water resistant, but then again, if you're a dress watch fan, you probably already knew that. The movement has 2 barrels, it's manual wind. It is rated as an 8-day, though in fact, that's more like its chronometric power reserve. The twin barrel movement will run almost 10 days from a full wind to exhaustion. So this is a case of the watchmakers at JLC under-promising and over-delivering, and no gimmicks are used to achieve that power reserve. The watch beats at a high rate, which is 8 beats per second. Well, that's maybe not ballistically high today in the era of 10 hertz brigade dress watches, but historically, to achieve long power reserves, oftentimes watchmakers used slower beat rates, and that is not the case here. This movement has its roots in the design of the 877 form caliber, which was a rectangular 8-day manual wind movement designed in 2002 for the 70th anniversary reverso, the septantième. So that's where this movement actually comes from. It was later launched in a round-cased master 8-day, and that came out in 2003. So that is where the round version seen here comes from. Now you can appreciate that the case back is cambered, which is quite impressive because a cambered sapphire is not an easy one to make water resistant, even to 30 meters. So Cartier was not pinching any pennies here. The quality of the case design, the quality of the crystals used, the cambered crystal on the top and on the back where it could very easily have just been made flat, the grade of movement employed from one of Richemont's best movement manufacturers, all of this speaks to Cartier's commitment with the CP series to make every watch something special. The finishing here is a combination of manual and mechanical, which is probably 50% more manual input than you'll get on a standard modern-day Cartier movement, as Cartier has generally shelved the spirit of the CP and fine watchmaking. They've lowered their price targets, they're going for a mass-market audience once more, and watches like this don't come out of La Chaux-de-Fonds, that's Cartier's headquarters, for watchmaking that often anymore, making this a rare window into a glorious period in modern Cartier watchmaking. And fun fact, JLC, when they designed this movement, didn't want you to have to wind it all day long in order to achieve the rated power reserve. That's why fully winding the 8-day power reserve with its twin mainspring barrels takes only 55 turns. Very impressive considering that a 48-hour Rolex automatic takes 39. JLC and Cartier thought of everything. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.